Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So I want to discuss about the SAP HANA projects. What are the different kind of projects for SAP HANA? When I say HANA, dealing with the HANA developer. So HANA development projects I'm going to explain. Okay, so it's a real-time one. So whatever this course, this session is relevant to the people who are interested for SAP HANA development. So how would be the real time? And when they are placed into any project, so how they are going to handle and what is the scenario, and also uh, from starting from the scratch, how they are going to get the requirement, from where they are going to get the requirement. So I want to give a heads up on those business terms, and later I'll be covering something like which is related to where exactly the project development involved. Okay, in which phase, how we are going to get the requirement and so on. Okay, so yeah, let's walk through the things. First, initially, when I say the project, there are the different types of projects I want to say. One is the implementation project. We can say implementation or development project. Then we'll be having a support. Then later we'll be having a migration project. Okay, so depends on the companies, like most of the clients which are using the HANA 2.4 development, they will be doing, they'll be having the implementation, and once the implementation have been done, it will move to the support, okay, or the go live we can say. And there are few projects like existing HANA users are the clients which are using the existing HANA as a database and also the development part. They nowadays in 2023 they are migrating. Few clients are migrating to the Snowflake. Okay, so HANA to the Snowflake, SAP to the other technology. Just I want to give a heads up on that as well. Okay, and also I'm going to cover a few interview questions. So how the what kind of questions do you get? Real time questions. Okay, most of the things I will be covering in the implementation, development, and the support scenarios only. Okay, fine. So yeah, let me start with the implementation. When I say the implementation for SAP HANA, right? So there are different phases in the implementation. When I say the implementation starts with the requirement. So for one company, uh, there will be multiple clients, but each client, based upon their requirement, they will go with the SAP HANA, native HANA development, or like they'll use the HANA database as an underlying database for the business warehousing, or they might go for the new fourth generation S4 HANA kind of thing. So now we are dealing with the HANA as native HANA as a development. And so for native HANA development project, how the implementation project starts. Okay, so implementation project starts with the end users requirement, right? So whatever the end users or business requirement, we can say business want to generate, based upon their business, they want to generate some reports, either SAP reports or maybe analytical reports. When we are dealing with the analytical reports, there HANA comes into the picture. Okay, so how the requirement comes to us. So basically, the end users want to develop some requirements based upon their requirement. Okay, they based upon their understanding. They want to generate some sales reports. They want to see some invoices reports. They want to see some financial asset accounting liabilities and financial sector reports. And also because SAP has a more number of modules, so depending upon the module, uh, the reports will be generated. So priority reports would be based upon the FIGL, asset accounting, customer related information. Okay. And also whenever the client, either it may be a pharmaceutical client or it related to the manufacturing, so our utility client. So based upon the requirement, the end users belongs to certain module. So they will raise the uh, request. We can say that request is the business requirement, and that request can be processed through uh, some tool, okay, front end tool, because they used to what they're looking out for. what kind of reports they are looking out for. What they will do, they will request for in the service now we can say, or remedy. Those are the tools that will be used to track the requirements of the end user or the business user. Okay. So once the requirement has come up, then what our response will be, sorry, fine. Once the requirement comes, it will come through a service now. Okay. So service now is the front end to where the what requirement will be captured, and that will be analyzed by our leads, on-site leads or offshore leads. Then based upon the requirement, they will be having the interaction with the business users, and they will analyze what exactly they are looking out for, whether it is belongs to which functional area. This will be this information they will gather up. Okay. Then based upon that, the functional requirement document will be created. Okay. Again, if some of the fields which are not identified, then there will be a gap. So that's used to call as gap analysis. So again, they will interact with the business users, and they will identify where exactly that particular which transaction or where they are posting up those information. That information they will gather up, they will identify, they will sit with here. The functional team also will coming up. So they will sit from which table, SAP table, this information is coming up. So once everything has been finalized, then a functional requirement document will be created, and it will go for a sign off of the client as well as on-site lead. Once sign off is done, then based upon the functional design document, technical documentation will be created. Okay. And this technical documentation will be created by the offshore resources who are not. And once this document has been finalized and it's signed off by the offshore lead, then development comes into the picture. Okay. So now we are in the stage of fake. So fifth stage has been completed. Next. So what is our landscape? When we say the landscape nothing but the development quality and the production system. Whatever the technical documentation which is signed off, once it is signed off, then the development work in the development work starts in the development box, a development system. Then once the development is completed, and with initial testing, because development system don't have the data, with the initial testing, uh, once they have achieved, okay, the data is coming up and the report is working fine. I mean to say the whatever the development he has done in the form of a calculation view of type cube, dimensions, projection. So based upon that, once the data is coming properly as per the requirement, business requirement, then it will be moved to the testing. Okay, in the testing will move, and the relevant data will be stored in the testing. And once it's been sent to the user for UAT, UAT stands for user acceptance test. And once the user tests from his end and confirms, then it will move to the production. Okay. So how that once the data has been developed in the development system and moved to the a quality system for the UAT and then move to the production system, all this process will be done through transportation process. Okay. So in SAP HANA, we are aware that there are three different transportations. One is the export and import, LCM, lifecycle management, and the copy function. Mostly, I can see that export and import functionality will be used in most of the time. Okay. So once everything has been placed in production, then the production activity starts. So this is the life cycle, I can say. This is the cycle happens for each development, each requirement. Okay. So similarly, once there will be one SharePoint, client SharePoint, which holds information about all the documents placed sorry, placed in the So all the documents which are created. I mean to say documents. What are the documents I'm saying? Document nothing but the uh, functional design docs and also technical documentation. Okay, which are signed off. Signed off items will be placed in the SharePoint. So it is a mandate that every client will be having a SharePoint where the important documents will be shared. Because going forward, whenever any enhancements comes, they can refer to these documents, what extent they have done the development and what changes they have to do. So this kind of information we can validate using this. Okay. So this is what about the implementation happens as part of the SAP native HANA development.